So yesterday we have seen the characteristics, the region, triad region, the saturation region, and we have also come to the conclusion that in the triad region it acts as a voltage controlled resistor. Okay, so it acts as a resistor, but which is voltage controlled. We'll see why it is called as voltage controlled in a short while. All right, so this also RDS is given as, so this RDS which is equal to here 1 by GDS GDS is the conductance, is the conductance basically. So which is also given as a formula 1 divided by mu n COX W by L into the overdrive voltage. Now this is very interesting. We have been introduced to new concepts, new terms over here, mu n COX and W by L. Now as I said, if you remember in one of the previous lectures, I have said that ID is K times. Now this K is to be determined. And I said that K is a function of geometry of the device. Okay. Now that is where this W by L comes into picture. Okay. Mu n is the mobility of the electrons, since we are talking about NMOS. If it would have been PMOS, it would have been mu p, which is called as the mobility of the holes. Okay. Now, in order to understand this COX and W by L, we have to see the construction. Is this diagram visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you carefully see the 3D structure of the MOSFET, which is exactly the same, we have seen only the 2D image. Now in this case, as you can see here, that the distance between this two ends is called as the L. We have already specified that. This is called as W. You can see here. So the width is called as W. Okay, and we already have this oxide SiO2 here. Okay, so this oxide basically, if you look at the structure, you'll see that we have a kind of capacitance that is created, isn't it? We have a capacitance which is created. And what is the oxide capacitance? That is called as the oxide capacitance. So who is creating the capacitance? It is as if you have a conductor plate and you have this SiO2 layer in between. So this oxide capacitance due to oxide is called as COX, and it is given by epsilon OX by the thickness TOX of the oxide layer. So this is the permittivity. This is the permittivity of the oxide layer, that is the SiO2, and we have the guys. Any doubts, any questions with these three terms? Students, please respond.
Sir, you were not audible.
Okay. So this figure is visible to all of you? Is this
Yes.
figure
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Okay, now, so looking at the geometry of the device, that is a 3D structure of the device, we have the width being defined like this, the length being defined like this. Okay, so length is nothing but the channel length. So L is nothing but the channel length. Whereas the COX is nothing but we have a capacitance formed like this. Okay, so this is metal. This is metal. This is your channel region, or let us say this also is a conductor. Is a conductor. Of course, it is silicon. But what we have, the picture is that we are having as if the metal. Okay, I'll use a different color here. We have a metal. We have the oxide, and whatever here we have is the semiconductor, which is also a conductor. So as if we are looking at a capacitor. Is the construction clear? And they are separated by a dielectric, which is our silicon dioxide. So all of you know that the capacitance is equal to the permittivity divided by the distance between the two plates. So this is the thickness of the oxide layer. So TOX. All right. ठीक है ना? Remember, capacitance is given as epsilon A by D. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, where is this A now? Because we are talking about the unit. Okay. So we are talking about the unit, that is the cross section over here. The area is unity. So it goes off. So this is nothing but 1. Okay. Because we want to find out what is this the capacitance of the oxide layer per unit area. So naturally, what we have is this given as epsilon OX divided by TOX. Is it clear now? Is this thing clear to you, all of you? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so we have the
Yes, sir.
capacitance COX. This is called as the oxide capacitance. This is the width of this region, and this is the channel length. Now, almost all of you have got your smartphones. Can anyone tell me the technology of the SOC that is being used in the smartphone, latest smartphone, for example? Have you heard of Qualcomm? What is this Qualcomm? It's a company which manufactures SOCs, which is used in your cell phones. What is an SOC? It is a combination of a microcontroller plus the RF devices plus so many different things. So it is a system on chip, not only a microcontroller, but it is a system on chip. And this is manufactured as a CMOS device. Okay? You must have heard about Qualcomm processor, which is the latest processor which is used in your smartphone. Can anyone tell me the specification of such a smartphone, such a SOC? Yes.
So the speed of functioning increases.
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm talking about is the technology that is being used to manufacture your chip, which is there inside your smartphone. Can you tell me? Yes, come on.
So Snapdragon.
For example, Qualcomm 865. Okay.
Yes.
You must be aware of this Qualcomm 865, which is probably, I think it is used in OnePlus phones and MI phones and all that. All
So it's
high-end
the name
phones, all
of
high-end phones will have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865. Okay, this is interesting. Snapdragon. I'm just taking an example. 865. Now, this series of SoC is manufactured again, fabricated with CMOS technology. Number one, and number two, what are the other things that are given as a part of description, specification? Anyone?
Number of cores.
Yes.
Number of cores.
Number of
Cores.
Number of cores. Okay. Anything else? Specifically, what is it? Is something. Sometimes it is given that it is the process technology is given that it is manufactured. For example, in this case, it is manufactured using the 7 nanometer process. Do you see this? All of you, please have a look at this. 7 nanometer process or maybe 10 nanometer process, whatever is the technology. Okay? What is this 7 nanometer? This 7 nanometer actually is the L. So the manufacturing process employs the devices which have this L as 7 nanometer, which is also called as the feature length or feature size, which is also called as the technology node. Please remember this. So you are electronics and telecommunication students, and if somebody asks you, okay, this is Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, which is manufactured with 7 nanometer process. What is this process? So you should be in a position to tell that person that this 7 nanometer stands for the length between the source and the drain. Okay, and this is going on shrinking. Now, strictly speaking, this is no longer equal to L, but just for your understanding, I want to tell you that it is equal to L. So have you understood this L, the importance of this L?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, as you can see, this L has decreased drastically. So earlier they started with, I think, 180 nanometer back, 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years back, and then now the current technology is 7 nanometers. In fact, 875, I think, is 5 nanometers. So this is going on decreasing. Okay, and so if L is decreasing, what will happen to the general size of the transistor? If you are shrinking this L, what will happen to the size of the transistor? Will it increase or decrease?
Decrease.
It will decrease. It simply means that more number of transistors can be accommodated on the same area. If I decrease L, more number of transistors will be manufactured or fabricated on the same area, and more number of transistor translates to more functionality, and that is the reason why your processors are becoming more and more powerful. All right. Anyway, that was a slight detour from our discussion, but I just wanted to emphasize on this channel length. All right. So going back to this discussion, so this RDS is actually dependent on or run by mu n COX W by L. Now you know all the parameters. Mu n is the mobility, COX is the oxide capacitance, W by L corresponds to the geometry of the device, VOV we have already seen. All right. Now at this point, I want to introduce one interesting thing. Now most of the times this For example, Kn dash, which is called as a process transconductance. Is nothing but Kn dash into W by L. If it was P-channel MOSFET, this would have been Kp dash and Kp. Okay. So in general, we'll say K is equal to K dash into W by L. Okay. Or I can also call this as mu COX W by L. Naturally, this is general term. Okay. This is applicable for CMOS as well as NMOS. When you talk about NMOS, this will take the form Kn is mu n COX W by L. If it is a PMOS, it will be Kp, which is equal to mu p COX W by L. Is that clear? Is that clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now it is time for us to summarize the the two regions of the characteristics. What we will do is we will summarize the characteristics. So the summary follows. When VGS, so there are two regions. So we are going to talk about two regions. VGS is less than VT. There is no channel. Transistor in cutoff, ID equal to 0. So technically there are three regions: cutoff, triode region and saturation region. Then we have VGS as VOV plus VT. So here a channel is induced and transistor operates in triode region or saturation region, depending on whether the channel is continuous or pinched off. Of course, at the drain end. So this actually summarizes our operation. So I can write here the operation as in triode region and the saturation group. Okay, so here it is characterized by continuous channel. Obtained by either we can write VGD, we have already seen this yesterday, which is greater than VT, or simply VDS, which is less than VOV. Okay, now in triode region, the drain current has got a different equation, which is equal to K into VGS minus VT into VDS minus half VDS square. This is the relationship between the drain current and VDS, specifically in the triode region. Okay, I can write this as ID as half K dash W by L into just multiplying this by 2, numerator and denominator by 2. Okay, so this will be 2 VGS minus VT into VDS, don't get confused, minus VDS square. So this is the standard equation for drain current in the triode region. Yes, all of you with me? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So understand that this is the equation which relates the drain current and VDS in the triode region. Whereas in the saturation region, we have a different picture. So in saturation region, we have the pinched off channel obtained by VGD less than or equal to VT or VDS greater than VOV. Follow this second one, then you will be able to nicely understand. Okay, this and this. The upper equation is also valid, of course, but this is easier to understand. And the drain equation, drain current equation, is given as K into VGS minus VT bracket square. I can simply write this as K into VOV bracket square, because VGS minus VT is nothing but VOV. And I can write this as ID as 1 by 2 K dash W by L into VGS minus VT bracket square. So these are the equations for the drain current in the saturation region. Agreed? All of you got this?
Excuse me, sir. So what is K?
I've already explained what is K. Isn't it? Were you present for the from the beginning?
I was present, sir.
Huh?
I was present.
Then we have been talking about this K for a long time. Okay, here it is. We have been talking about this. This is K. It's a general term. It can be either Kn or Kp. Got it?
Yes, sir.
in the saturation region. We've already seen that. Okay, what is this K? This K is called as the MOSFET transconductance. K is called as the MOSFET transconductance. Whereas Kn dash is called as the process transconductance. Okay, now they are different for NMOS and PMOS. So we have Kn or Kp. If I want to talk in general terms, I'm calling it as K. Is that clear? Is that clear
Yes, sir.
now?
Yes, sir.
Sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we have got equations for the drain current in triode region as well as in the saturation region. So now we are in a better position to understand device and use it for our applications. All right, but before we go in for the next part, let us have a look at the actual characteristics using multisim. Okay, just hold on while I switch over to
Show that
multisim.
slide.
Yes,
Drain current slide, sir. Once.
sorry.
Sir, can you show that drain current slide?
All right, one second. Oh, here it is. All right. ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
So just remember these equations, last equations. Okay, ID and how ID and VDS are related. Okay. Okay. So let me switch over to multisim. So first of all, we will take a look at okay, is this visible now?
Yes, sir.
So first of all, we'll take a look at the transfer characteristics of. Now, if you use this particular device, no problem. If you use the virtual device, no problem. But you'll see that it is characterized by here, since I'm using an actual device, you can just use another device over here, virtual transistor, and we are talking about the. So this one will be there. Now, if I double click this, are you able to see this? This is customizable. See, you can have your own transistor with some length and some width. Okay. VT, threshold voltage, is also given over here. We can set the threshold voltage also here. All right. So
Yes, sir.
I just go back to the earlier device and look at the model. This is a SPICE model. Here also you can see L and W. See? Here also you can have the VT. We'll see what is VT0 later on. Okay, and lambda also, don't worry about that. But if I want to find out the characteristics, I can see it like this. Okay, instead of this, I will use the virtual transistor so that you will not get confused. I'll just increase this to 200. This to 2 volts. Okay, so what do you see here? I want to increase the current as well, so I'll just take this to all right. So are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so does it is it the same as that what we have seen in the previous sessions? The kind of curve that we have here. So this is the transconductance. I'll increase it to 8, the sweep to 8 volts, so that will be more pronounced. So you can see that at 2 volts, which is the threshold voltage, the drain current slightly starts increasing. It is non-zero, starts increasing at exactly 2 volts, which is the threshold voltage, which we have set here in this case. Different devices will have different threshold voltages. So is the is the transconductance characteristics clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
I think you should also try this. Look at the way in which I have rigged up this circuit. Okay, 12 volts as VDS. VDS doesn't play any role here at this point of time. Only this V1. I'm changing. This is VGS actually. So I'm changing the VGS and trying to find out the drain current for a given value of VDS. Okay? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Now let us see the output characteristics. Just a moment. Multisync has crashed. Okay. Okay, is this clear? Is this visible to all? Yes?
Yes, sir.
You can change this to 1000. Threshold to 2. Look at the DC sweep now. Source 1, I'm varying from 0 to 24 volts. And this VGS, I'm varying from 0 to 8 volts in the step of 1 volts. If I run this, this is what I get. So it agrees with our it agrees with our theoretical discussion, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as you can see very clearly, so this part, I can say that this part is nearly, you can see it is nearly linear. Okay, this part. If I talk about this part is linear, nearly linear, which is the triode region. Whereas after that you get the saturation region. Okay, is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we have studied the basic device. We have seen the symbol. You already know the relationship between the drain current and the drain source voltage. for various values of VGS also, which VGS minus VT, which you are calling as the overdrive voltage. Okay, VOV. So now it is time for us to go for, now this is an ideal device. Okay, this is an ideal device. Let me switch back to our OneNote. In a real device, we do have some changes, and one of those details are called as, the very first difference is a finite output resistance in saturation. In one of the previous lectures, we have already seen so what was the output resistance here? What was the output resistance? RO? Are you able to see the screen? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is the value of output resistance for this ideal device? It is infinite. Are you getting this? Output resistance is infinite in saturation region, right? But in practical device, we have a finite value. What does a finite value mean? By the way, what does a finite value, what would it mean as the curve? Yes? Anyone? What do you mean by finite value of RO? How will it reflect in the curve? Come on, guys. Am I talking to myself? Why did we have this infinite resistance? Output resistance infinite. Why did we have that? Because this curve ID, guys, are you there with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Because this particular curve, that is the drain current, as you can see, remains exactly same, that is constant, which is parallel to your x-axis. Okay, and that is the reason why we are getting infinite output resistance. But practical devices, they will not show anything like this. In fact, what will happen to them is that you will have a slight slope. Are you getting this? It will not be exactly parallel to the x-axis, but you have a slope, and because of this you have the finite RO. Are you able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So let us find out, why do we have this thing in practical devices? Why do we have this slope? Though the slope is very small, meaning that R will be very high, R out will be very high, but it will not be infinite. Now it was seen earlier that this ID, the drain current, is independent of VDS. This is what this curve indicates, this line indicates. It is independent of VDS. As VDS increases, ID remains same even if VDS increases, which implied that RO was infinite. But in practice, so I'll write it here. In practice, that is for a practical device, when VDS is increased beyond VOV, that is this point, it does have an effect. So it affects the channel. We have already seen this effect. Now, as VDS is increased, the channel pinch-off point moves slightly away from the drain towards the source. So if you remember the figure, just a moment, I'll just get that figure once again. So what does this mean? It simply means that as I increase, of course, I'll be having this VGS, this at ground, and I'm to have this VDS. So this is VGS, this is VDS. So as I go on increasing VDS beyond VOV, first of all, there will be pinch off. If I further increase, VDS, this point moves like this. If I still increase VDS, it moves like this. So this pinch off point is moving away from the drain and towards the source for increasing values of VDS. Of course, I'm exaggerating here. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
So,
Fine. So the picture that I have is, I have the channel length, which earlier was supposed to be L. Now it gets modified to a different value. This is the source side. Okay. But the voltage across the channel remains constant. which is nothing but VOV as VGS is equal to VGS minus VT. And the additional voltage that is applied to the drain, remember we are increasing VDS, appears as a voltage drop across the narrow depletion region between the end of this channel. So what we have is the excess voltage, which is here, is this voltage is this VDS minus VOV, which is the excess voltage, which is across a very narrow channel. Now this voltage we have already seen creates the electric field, very high electric field, and the electrons are swept into the drain. So the drain current does continue even after pinch off. This is what we have already seen. All right. But as we have seen, the channel length effectively decreases by delta L. And if you carefully see the equation, the drain current is inversely proportional to the length from the previous equations. See this? See this? Look at this. So drain current is inversely proportional to L. Okay?
Sure.
So this relationship is clear to you. So as L decreases, what will happen to ID?
Increase.
ID will increase, and that is the reason why, as you can see here, I have specified that the ID increases slightly. ID increases slightly. So have you understood why this ID is increasing?
Yes, sir.
So ID does increase with VDS, of course, to a very small value. So now we have to refine our equation. So we will write the equation to incorporate this effect as ID as half K dash W by L into VGS minus VT bracket square, and I am additionally having one term to incorporate this effect, which I introduce as 1 plus lambda into VDS. This lambda is a device parameter. Its units are 1 over V, 1 by V, volts. And this value of lambda depends on the process technology. Which is used for fabrication. Okay. And also, it also depends on L. Okay. Now the actual characteristics take the form of a very peculiar figure, which I will show you in a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds. So the characteristics will no longer be exactly, you see, it will not be exactly parallel. In the saturation, it will not be exactly parallel to the x-axis, but it will have something like this. Okay, and you can see one interesting thing happening here, that if you extend the lines, okay, they will meet somewhere over here, and this actually VA is called as the voltage. This is the voltage axis, remember, is called as the early voltage. And VA and lambda are related as VA is 1 by minus 1 by lambda. So this is basically, so VA depends on the process parameters or the fabrication process. Okay. So what we have is the channel length modulation, which is because of, you already know, the pinch off point being shifted. Because of that, ID is affected, and so ultimately we have the finite output resistance. So with these things, we are moving more and more closer to the actual device. Is that fine, guys?
So,
Is that fine? Have you understood this?
yes, so.
Okay. Now, another important thing we have to see is the temperature effect. What happens if the temperature, ambient temperature of the device increases? Okay. You'll see that both Vt and K dash are temperature sensitive. Okay, both Vt and K dash are temperature sensitive. Now, actually speaking, it is seen that Vt decreases by an amount 2 millivolt per degree Celsius. What is this Vt? Again, what is this Vt?
The threshold voltage.
Yes, it is not the temperature voltage equivalent of temperature. Please, I'm again and again telling you this. So the threshold voltage of the device also is sensitive to temperature. It decreases for by 2 millivolts per degree Celsius rise in temperature. Now this decrease in Vt gives corresponding rise, corresponding increase in the drain current. If you look at the equation for drain current, if Vt decreases, what will happen? If Vt decreases, this
ID will increase.
ID will increase. Okay. So because of this,
Yes.
ID will increase. So the direct effect of Vt temperature is that Vt decreases and ID increases. But there is K dash decreases means what will happen? K dash decrease हो गया temperature से, K dash decrease हो गया तो what will happen to ID? Given other things are constant, if K dash decreases, what will happen to ID from this equation?
Sir, decrease.
ID will decrease. So if K dash increases the temperature, ID decreases. and it is seen that this K dash decrease effect is more dominant. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by it is more dominant? That its effect is more. So overall, if temperature increases, what will happen to drain current? What will happen to drain current?
Sir, increase.
How will it increase? I said this effect is more dominant. So if temperature increases, K dash decreases. So ID will also decrease. And
Yes,
since
sir.
the dominant is this effect is more dominant than this, what will happen to ID?
Sir, decrease.
The most important
Decrease.
ID will decrease. Now recall in bipolar junction transistor what was happening to IC. If temperature increases, what was happening?
IC increase.
And then again it gave rise to what is called as
Thermal runaway.
Yes. And in contrast to that, what is happening here? If temperature increases, drain current is decreasing. So there is no thermal runaway. And this is a very, very fantastic thing for us. Because transistors, bipolar junction transistors have a problem of thermal runaway. MOSFETs will not have a problem of thermal runaway. And that is the reason why MOSFETs are preferred devices in power electronics. Okay? Understood? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I said this needs a little bit more explanation. It's very simple. What is K dash? It is mu n into COX. COX does not change with temperature. But what is mu n? Mobility of electrons. And actually this mobility of electrons decrease when temperature increases. Okay? So why K dash is dependent on temperature is because of the mobility factor. Alright? Have all of you understood this?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts, any questions so far? We are moving towards the end of the session. Now again, for those who join very late, their attendance after 15 minutes will not be considered. Please remember that. I have seen students joining 5 minutes before the end of the session. What is the point in doing that? Anyways, any doubts, any questions? If there are no doubts, we will stop over here. All right.